Hello everyone and welcome to a new Infinity Kingdom video. In this video, I'm gonna show you guys how to be able to build your marsh according to the artifacts that you have. Because back then, whenever someone from my alliance asked me about a build or needed help on how to build his marsh, if they are using the same marsh as mine, I didn't even bother to explain anything for them. I only asked them to copy the same skills that I'm using, and that was it. The results could have been the same because artifacts were not very impactful back then, and we were at the early stages of the servers, and artifacts were not really a thing. No one had ever a fully developed artifact back then, so it rarely has had any uh, impact on fights. However, since artifacts are very impactful on fights right now, you can't copy any build from anyone if you don't have the same set of artifacts. So I'm gonna talk about my marsh, why did I build it this way, and why I'm using these skills according to the artifacts I have. I want to start with Harold. So Harold have a very good artifact that provide him with a lot of physical attack, and he has a very decent physical attack. However, I'm not using caution in my marsh, so he rarely deals a lot of damage if I'm against someone who is using misleading. This is why I'm using Harold as a hyper tank. However, if he was able to tank, he would be able to apply more damage and be able to stand. The main reason that Harold is tank is that I'm using lifelink on him. I'm not gonna go through the skills because I've explained this in other videos. However, lifelink helps your immortals a lot to be a lot tankier. And I'm also using an aura, Malais, which is one of the most important auras if you're building a main marsh. I'm using Oakengard to be able to survive in the first 18 seconds of the fight. When it comes to Attila, Attila is maybe one of the maybe is the most important immortal in my marsh because he got the highest physical attack. I believe his physical attack is even higher than my Merlin's magical attack. Even though I'm using a magical attack bonus artifact on Merlin, he's still outshine him because of his I'm using a Hannibal Parker special artifact, so this is the reason why he got more physical attack than Merlin's. Also, the secondary stats on the artifact itself is very nice. So I'm using this breath on Attila. One of the reasons that Attila is dealing a lot of damage using Death Breath is that he's immune to CC, so the skill doesn't stop at any point of the fight. As long as Attila is standing, he will keep applying damage. However, one of the downsides that you're using the Death Breath on a physical immortal is that you need to use caution along with it because otherwise he will miss uh, lots of damage if you're against someone who is using misleading. I want to show you some fights where Attila did a lot of damage using uh, physical. Let me see here. Using Death Breath. Yeah, Death Breath. Unfortunately, I've lost a lot of reports here. I want to show you guys a report where I was against someone who was not using misleading. This one, for example, I think. Not this one. This one here. I'm sorry, C's, but it's the only report I can show. You can see here that C's was not using misleading, right? Yeah, she was using shelter instead of misleading. And as you can see, my Attila did a lot of damage using Death Breath. Almost 6 million from Death Breath here. And this is because Attila was not receiving any form of CC, even though the other team doesn't really have CC. If she had the last troop tech for the cavalry, William could have been applying stun to my Attila. However, I'm using Fight Master on Attila. So he's reducing the damage that he's receiving. Also, he's immune to crowd control. This is why he applied a lot of damage using this Death Breath. However, if you can take a look here, there was 4 dodges, which means 4 physical attacks has been dodged. As you know, guys, only physical attacks can be dodged. Magical attacks cannot be dodged at all. And if you take a look at Merlin's skills here, you'll be able to see that there is no dodges that happened at all. Except normal attacks, because normal attacks are counted as physical damage. So this is why I'm using Death Breath on my Attila, because I have a very high physical attack on him, and I have a very strong artifact on him. Even though it's not his artifact, I'm still gonna use it, even if I have a special artifact on him, but it doesn't have as good stats as this one. So for my Yushi, I'm using Yushi as a meat shield for Merlin, even though I have a good artifact on him. But the only reason I've got a good artifact for Yushi because I'm using him a lot for bosses. So he's helping me a lot to hunt bosses. However, it rarely has any impact on PvP. And as you can see, I'm running a lot of tests with this skill at the moment. It's giving me a lot of good results, but I think I will need to change my Merlin artifact in the future if I want to keep using it. Maybe I will use a crit value artifact, or I will be using a crit rate artifact. I'm not sure yet, but so far the skill is working fine. So this is how I built my marsh. It sounds basic, however, one skill could make a lot of difference, guys, if you're using the right artifacts. As you know, guys, I'm using misleading because it helps a lot against people who counts a lot in physical damage. For example, an immortal such as Alexander. If you're against Alexander and the enemy is not using an aura such as caution, misleading will help you a lot to sustain a lot of damage and dodge a lot of damage. And I'm also using resist, which helps a lot against fire marshes, mainly because Empress Wu does a tons of damage at the first. Maybe if I'm not using resist, I would die in the first 18 seconds of the battle if I was against a fire marsh. Same as Malais helps a lot in people who counts on crit, and you can't play a main marsh in my opinion without Malais unless you have Shadow because of Bjorn. But this is for another video. This is all for today's video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Again, if you have any comment, if you have any feedback, you can reach me in Discord or you can leave it in the comments down below.